I want to use an analogy. I don't know if you've ever felt like you're standing at the edge of a cliff looking down, right? So there's this fear of what failure feels like for you or for many of us, right, in the business world. And it's that moment right before you're about to make that leap off the cliff, right? And so maybe that is launching a business, maybe it's launching a new product, or having certain conversations with your team, or starting or selling a new product, or scaling your business. It's a big one for clients that we have. Or if we can just relate that to generally stepping outside of your comfort zone. And instead of jumping, you freeze. So instead of taking that leap, you freeze. And a big part of that is, what if you fail? Like, what are the repercussions if you fail, if it all falls over? And of course, I can speak from experience, because I've been through that. We've all been through that, absolutely, and we're all going through it. We all have things that we want to do out in the world that we're not doing right now through some kind of fear. Often it's a fear of failure. A lot of times, more often than not, it's actually a fear of success. And of course, in the coaching work that I do, I see this all the time. It is one of the most common things that come up with the clients that I work with. And I just see brilliant people, brilliant entrepreneurs, brilliant writers. I see brilliant people being affected by this every single day. We all are. The funny thing is, of course, we know what we need to do. We know what we need to do in order to achieve more of what we want. So we know that for us to be healthy, to us to lose weight, we shouldn't be eating the specific foods that we are eating, and yet we do anyway. We shouldn't be eating after a certain time at night, and yet we do anyway. We should be getting up early to go to the gym, or just going to the gym at some point during our day, and yet we don't. And so logic isn't the issue here, because we know all that stuff. We just know that already. It's intrinsic. We understand it. The thing is that we're wired to protect ourselves, and we have all of these imagined dangers in our mind from taking that action. And those, even though we know what we want, we know it's over there, these dangers, or these images, these feelings that we get, they're there to protect us, but they're also stopping us from doing what it is that we want to do in this life. But of course, as you know, as we all know, staying perched on that ledge, right, paralyzed by fear, afraid to take that leap, you're already failing. You're already failing because you're falling short of your potential. You're watching your opportunities pass you by. Life is passing you by. Time is disappearing. Your kids are getting older. You're getting older. For what? That fear of failure? So it's not really just an obstacle, right? It's actually a thief stealing from you not just your future successes, but your current enjoyment, your current fulfillment, your current achievement of goals, your current making progress on the things that mean the most to you. So this is where the game can change, right? And the truth is, most successful people out there feel all of this. They already feel all of these fears. They already feel all of that stuff that we suffer from. They all feel it. They all do. They have that dread of failure. I mean, I can't imagine as a powerful superstar musician, the fear that must be there for producing a song, writing and producing a song on an album that flops, building up all of that brand, all of that recognition in the audience, and then producing something that just falls over, and the ridicule and the judgment that they would get. We all have that. We can't get away from it. And yet, every time they produce a new song, every time they produce a new album, they do it with all of that going on already. And so I guess what sets them apart is they feel all of that and they act anyway. And a lot of it is that their vision or their why, it's so much bigger than any fear that they've got. Right? So it's not that they're fearless. It's that they've learned that the reward on the other side of taking action is far greater than staying put and staying stuck where they are. So how do they, and then obviously how do you shift from being stuck, from being paralyzed, from not being able to move, to taking action? Well, a lot of it starts with the current feelings and images that you've got that flash through your body and through your mind. The scenarios that you're imagining where everything goes wrong, the feelings that gives you, the images, the pictures that you're seeing in your mind, all of that's just old programming, and it's all there to keep you safe, but it's just time to update the system, isn't it? And so by deliberately choosing and imagining positive outcomes, by instead of picturing falling, instead of feeling all that negativity in your body and just letting it be that way, we start picturing what it means to succeed. We start picturing what it feels like to succeed. We start deliberately choosing the response that we have to this external stimulus. And it's not just wishful thinking. It's far from wishful thinking. It's really a strategic programming of your brain. It's a rewiring of your brain, of your responses. So if we can exchange the disempowering feelings and imagery that we've got going on right now, and we can exchange them for really empowering ones, we can start to feel the excitement of a challenge that we're beginning to meet, and of the growth that we're getting from this process. I mean, yes, for sure, there are tools and techniques that we can use to aid that progress, and we do that. I do that with my clients. But fundamentally, it boils down to taking a moment to slow down, becoming aware of what's really going on here behind that. I mean, if you think about taking a certain action, launching that business, and all of a sudden all of this imagery and these feelings come up, there's so much going on between the thought of starting the business and then all of that fear and all of those pictures of failure and whatever that looks like for you. There's just so much going on between those 2 points. So it's becoming really aware of what's happening inside you. What are the fears holding you back, and what's in behind that? Right? What is the pictures that are coming to mind, and what's in behind them? And just starting to go, okay, this is what's going on. This is what's happening inside me, and it's a staged process. It started somewhere, it's resulting in this. There's a process, and this is what it looks like. This is what it feels like for me. Acknowledging that. And then it's deciding consciously, I don't want to be like that anymore. I don't want to live that way anymore. That's not me. That's not who I want to be. I can do more than what I'm doing now. I'm put here to do more than what I'm doing right now. I'm destined to do more than what I'm doing right now. And it's consciously creating a different narrative. And then if you can, it's sticking it into your unconscious. I mean, that's a different conversation. And the thing is, what's really powerful to think about is that all of this is bigger than you, right? So most people do more for others than they do for themselves. And if you think about this, whatever that goal is, launching that business, having those difficult conversations, losing that weight or getting healthier, all of those things are more than just about you, right? You've probably got a spouse, you've probably got kids, you've probably got close friends, all of these people relying on you or looking up to you or who respect you or depend on you, depending. Allow that to be part of the drive. Allow that to be part of your why to overcome some of these fears and these fears and these worries and these anxieties. Allow that to drive your actions. You're only here for such a short time, and within a very short space of time, no one's going to remember who you are. I mean, let's be honest. In a short amount of time after you're not here anymore, you're passed on, no one remembers who you are anyhow. And all the people that you were worried about, they're not here either. No one remembers who they are. We're all ending up in the same place. And eventually that place is where no one remembers us. So getting stuck by all this dogma is... It's unnecessary when it comes down to it. It's about making a choice. And that choice is not letting outdated fears and outdated programming dictate your future you, who you want to be, who you're capable of being, you fulfilling on your potential. Your vision is probably far, far bigger than that. And it's far, far bigger than the temporary discomfort some of these fears are protecting you from. Because they're only temporary. The amount of times that we've worked with clients that once they push through those fears or move through those fears, sometimes it's not a push, sometimes it's just a transition after working together, none of it comes to fruition. And there's so much more value on the other side of it. Right, so this is how we turn the tide. This is how we take the leap, and this is how we start fulfilling on some of the things that you're dreaming about or desiring. Right, it works. We've got clients who I could talk to you for a long time about clients who have had all of these fears, all of the stuckness, that as they've moved through them, they've just started to progress, and they've taken little steps. But you can't run a marathon without starting the race, right? You can't run a marathon without hearing the start line and taking the first few steps. And as you take the first few steps, you start taking the next few steps. And often a lot of those fears and those anxieties is just a case of being able to get momentum, get going, no matter how small that starting point is. What's cool about what we do with clients, with some of the tools and strategies that we've got, is we can help them take those steps without a lot of the fears and anxieties that were once plaguing them. That's another conversation. And so I guess the question then is, what is your cliff? Like, what are you hesitating to do? What are the actions you want to take, or the goals that you want to achieve that you've not yet been able to act on, but you'd love to? And I'd just love to hear, hear in the messaging below, or even just like or love this video. That'd be awesome, just to show your support. Let's really start to have a conversation about what your aspirations are, and being able to turn the what if I did this thing to I am doing this thing. I'd love to hear it.